Hi, everybody. Welcome to our Onboarding in a Box, your complete toolkit for moving orientation online webinar. So if you ever wanted to move all or part of your onboarding process online, but were never sure really where to start or just felt overwhelmed just thinking about how you were going to implement changes and create new procedures, what those new procedures would be, what they would look like, how you would manage drivers in various stages of the onboarding process, you are in the right place. So this idea actually was born after talking to many clients about the fact that they just needed some help being organized and kind of getting the ball rolling so they could actually start onboarding more online. And when we realized our clients were experiencing this hurdle, we created the Onboarding in a Box solution to make this move much easier. We all know now that it's even more important than ever to align your orientation classes with CDC recommendations. And so we've just removed the hardest part about getting started, and that's getting started. So Onboarding in a Box does all the initial heavy lifting and planning for you, and it makes it really easy to hit the ground running. You can take what you like, you can leave what you don't behind, and either way, it's going to help you save a ton of time and money. It'll keep your employees safer, and it's going to, get you started with executing a winning onboard solution for your company. The best part is we are offering this also free for 90 days, so keep that in mind. And before we get started, I just wanted to let you know all the basics. This is going to be a recorded webinar, so we'll send it to you within the next 24 hours. Don't worry if you get interrupted or if you have to jump off the call, you'll get the recording so you and your team can always review it later. Additionally, you can feel free to submit your questions anytime throughout the presentation, and you can do so using the text box under the questions section in your GoToWebinar panel. So if we're not able to get to them right away, we'll be sure to address them at the end of the webinar. Okay, so here's our agenda. My name is Leah Kelly, and I'm joined today by my 10th Street friend, Marilyn Serbers. Marilyn fills many roles here at 10th Street, from client consultant to onboarding and transportation expert. She's worked closely with many clients to learn about their business and offer strategic advice on how they can move, their onboarding online. So if you'd like to schedule some time with Marilyn at any point, who also happens to come in the box, so to speak, we can easily make that happen. You can just let us know. Okay, so on the agenda today, we have why would you choose to onboard online? What exactly does online onboarding mean? Which components of onboarding can be done online? How do you do it? And this is where we're going to define all the pieces in the box, all the parts. And then what savings can you expect? Kind of a big deal. Okay, and then we're going to tell you how you can get started for free for 90 days. And here is Marilyn. I'm going to pass this over to Marilyn today, and she can introduce herself and tell you how this all works.
Thank you, Leah. I really appreciate you with this beautiful intro and running the slideshow for us. As Leah said, I am Marilyn Serber. I have been at 10th Street now for just a little bit over a year. And prior to coming to 10th Street, I spent 11 years at a pretty large trucking company, Mountain Truck Lines, here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And while I was there, I was lucky enough to spend a lot of time in driver recruiting and driver training and safety training. And so actually spent a lot of time getting our program whenever I was there online. And so I'm really happy that I get to help other people, other carriers do that now, and just want to go through that process. And I'm really excited, and I wish that I would have had everything in a box for me whenever we went on that endeavor. So why do you want to onboard online is really just, now more than ever, right, is a time that we have to think outside of the box and think about ways that we can get our job done, maybe in different ways than we've done it before. And with this, we've really done all the heavy lifting for you and put all of the tools together that gives you the ability to put pieces of your orientation online or all of your orientation online, just really whatever fits with your business model and whatever you and your team are comfortable with. So there's a lot of reasons to do it. You get more impact in person, right, whenever you've done some of the things online or before drivers get there. And so that way, whenever you're onboarding drivers, you can really spend the face-to-face time with them, training them on items that really need to be done face-to-face, and you really get their attention rather than losing them because you're doing so much so much face-to-face or in classroom time in one day. And also in the times that we live, online onboarding, and it allows you to social distance, right? It allows you to have a lot of flexibility in your orientation schedule, bringing people in different groups, starting them at different times, all the different things that you guys are having to think about now as companies in order to make sure you are keeping people safe. It also is going to help you save money. Having drivers on site in orientation for less amount of time helps you save money. You save costs on a lot of different things. And then it's also going to help you improve your retention and your engagement. I think we all know our retention starts with onboarding. It even starts in our recruiting process, right? Drivers are making decisions about how they feel about your company from the first time they're interacting with you, and how you onboard them has a lot to do with that. Next slide, Leah. And so what exactly is online onboarding? Online onboarding is really taking everything that you do with a driver from the moment that you schedule them for orientation till the moment that they get on a truck and are driving for your company, and moving it online to a digital format. And so again, we put all these tools in the box for you, and you can decide which of these tools are going to work for you and how much of it do you want to move online. It allows you to do these things in a place besides a crowded training room. I've spent a lot of hours in driver orientation classrooms, and, you have anywhere from, 5 to 75 guys in a classroom, and there's not a lot of space in there. And so this really helps you create that space. Next slide, please. Which components of onboarding can be done online? Well, the answer to that is really all of them. All of your onboarding pieces can be done remotely if you choose to do it that way. Next slide, please. With 10th Street in our box, we offer the full suite of things for you. We have your DOT and tax forms. We have a lot of standard forms that are available to you that are basically going to be the forms that are required. So your I-9s and W-4s, we have a COVID-19 disclosure form. We have a drug and alcohol clearinghouse form, so standard forms that are required. And we update those every year or as regulations change to make sure they stay compliant. Outside of those standard forms that are issued, we also have forms from prominent vendors, like Driver's Legal Plan that, a lot of our clients use. That form is already built for you, but we can customize any of your forms. So when you look, have always called it for, since my days in recruiting in 2008, a driver packet, right? You have a driver packet that your drivers fill out before they get on a truck with your company. That whole driver packet can be made digital. All of 10th Street's forms are built mobile first, so they really are designed to be done on a phone and for a driver to be able to fill out on a phone, which is a big deal. That's a big deal whether they're doing it from a truck stop or if they're doing it if you have them in the classroom, right? Being able to do that from a mobile device and not having to have a bunch of desktop computers is a big deal. So all of those forms, that's a huge component of online onboarding. Confirmation and tele-app, having the ability to confirm and modify a driver's application, right? So if part of your orientation process is likely going through every piece of the driver's application. And a lot of times when you guys do that, right, things change. And so you can make those changes with the confirmation and tele-app on behalf of the driver, and then it automatically will send a notification to that driver so that they can sign off on those changes. And again, that can be done while the driver is sitting at a truck stop, while they're sitting at home, or if you have to bring them in for some reason, that can all be done online that way. Document uploader, there's tons of documents that we have to capture in order to hire a driver and be in compliance. A driver with our document uploader feature can take pictures of those documents and upload them and send them straight to you, just like they would deposit a mobile check. The technology is so simple, it's so easy. It's really great. There's no longer trying to email a driver a document and then they have to go somewhere and try to print it out, or you have to, God forbid, have to fax it to them somewhere and wait for them to get to a truck stop and say, okay, I'm faxing you this document, or they're going to fax it over to you, and then you have to get it and save it and upload it. Document Uploader removes all of that. And it really, when you talk about driver experience and you talk about how they feel and ease of onboarding, Document Uploader, I think, is a huge, huge piece of that. New to our offering and in our box is our training library. We have almost 50 titles now that are available for training, where you can replace whole classes with our video component training. We also have the ability with our system to house your training. So if you have videos of any of your courses, we can house those for you. Your drivers can view them and access them through the portal. Again, that's a huge feature for a driver to only be logging into one place. They can they sign off on it when they're done. We can add quizzes. All of our training content has built-in quizzes as they go along, and certificates are issued for each course that's completed, and that stays in the driver's file. And so we can build that out for any subject matter that you have in your orientation. Another big piece of orientation is your drug test and physical. With our Pulse MD option, it gives you the ability to remotely request those items, and for a driver to go get those, go get his drug screen and go do all of those things, and then you get an alert when it's been completed. So you don't even really have to bring them in for that anymore, which is a huge deal. And so looking at this big offering and looking at this box, you can really see that all of the pieces that are required in onboarding a driver are right here in your toolbox. Here I provided just kind of a sample orientation schedule. If you guys are sitting out there and you don't know where to begin and you're looking at your orientation schedule, it likely looks something like this, right? You have on day one, you have the driver come in and they probably spend 4 to 6 hours filling out that driver packet, if that's all on paper. And while they're filling out that driver packet, maybe they're pulled out to go do their drug screen or their physical or their road test. And then intermittently throughout that time, you might, you do some basic training on workplace harassment or hours of service. And then that's the day one. So, you think about that. And then you have them come back again, for day two, and you have all these other training classes that you're doing with them in person, anywhere from operations to maintenance, defensive driving, hazmat, maybe payroll overview. And then day three, maybe you've got them out there looking at their truck, going over ELD compliance, trip planning, and then they're doing their truck check-in. So I remember, again, like looking at our orientation schedule and saying, oh my gosh, how in our driver packet that was almost 100 pages, and saying, how am I going to get all of this online? How am I going to get it online? And how am I going to find the corresponding training that's also still impactful, right, to fit with our schedule? And so next slide, please. That's really what we want to do, is talk with you about how do you do that? How do you go from a schedule and a stack of paperwork to a nice, clean, automated, paperless process where you can engage drivers and engage your personnel, and also, the drivers start making money faster and the company starts making money faster. Next slide, please. The first thing that we would do is by looking at your orientation schedule and deciding on some automatic enrollment options. So one of the things that I love about 10th Street and I love about our solution is the automation. We have the ability to group things for you. We can create statuses based on statuses that you likely already use, or tags to say, okay, is it whenever I schedule a driver for orientation, these are the items that I'm going to assign to them. And then as you saw on the schedule, once they complete that, there can be another status. It's like, okay, here's day one stuff that needs to be completed. Now I'm going to assign that to them. So you have the ability to, based on the status and the stage that a driver is in, you can automatically will send that content to them. welcome emails, all of those things. And we've created the templates for you. Pre-orientation, I think, is a huge thing. It kind of sets you up for flexibility, especially now whenever we're worried about social distancing and we're worried about CDC guidelines and we're talking about how do we stagger folks in the classroom or how do we stagger that interaction. Pre-orientation is a great way to do that, and also to measure engagement. So here are some things that we would recommend. All of these documents be assigned before a driver gets there, and all of this video training. And it's by design that this does reflect back to what the schedule looked like. So you're taking out probably, with these video courses, you're probably taking 4 to 6 hours out of your training day, your in-person training, by using these videos. And then another probably hour or so with using these forms. And if you have all of these drivers that have completed pre-orientation, they've completed all of these things when they get there, then they're ready to move on to the next things when they get there. Next slide, please. Our welcome email example, we really wanted to put something together for you that just says, welcome to your company. It's pretty simple, but it tells you all the things that you need to include. So, drivers need to know what is their travel and hotel information, their bus, plane, ticket, rental car, how are they going to get to the hotel? All of that information should be in your welcome letter. What do they need to bring with them, right? And what are their expectations? So just a simple template here that you can plug in your information and it's ready to go. Again, automation. Next slide, please. And pre-orientation assignments are a great way to monitor your driver progress and engagement. So you can see who's done what at any time. We have our dashboard onboarding widget that helps you with that. Driver recruiter checklists are amazing. You can see in a task list view what a driver has done and what they haven't done. And so if you have assigned pre-orientation, like let's say, today is Tuesday. If a driver is supposed to be coming in on Monday and you've assigned everything to him today, and we get to Friday afternoon at 4 and he still hasn't completed anything, you can tell that level of engagement or disengagement from that driver based on what he has done or what he hasn't done. And then it also helps you start to categorize a driver and say, okay, well, hopefully he's still going to show up on Monday, but he hasn't done anything, so we're going to work with him differently. Then he's going to have to complete his pre-orientation things while he's on site. We also have drip email campaigns that can be triggered automatically, again, saying, hey, don't forget that, you've been assigned this, this, and this. Don't log into the driver portal and let's get everything completed before you're set to go to orientation. So any of the things that we create for you, you can set up those drip campaigns so that drivers are reminded, and so that maybe your recruiter doesn't have to call them every day and remind them. Maybe they can call them every other day, and on those days that they're not calling them, they're getting a drip reminder to go ahead and complete that content. Next slide, please. Driver assist, so that piggybacks right into that, and that's helping the driver. And so everything that we want to do is to improve the experience for the driver and for your recruiters and, for everybody that's involved. And so those drip campaigns, and they really help a driver understand. The links are right in the email so they can go out and do what they need to do. And then your recruiters aren't having to make as many what we would call warm and fuzzy calls. Next slide, please. So then they've hopefully, a percentage of drivers, we know are not going to complete everything before they get to orientation. We know that. We've been in this industry and, we understand how that works. But setting up all of these tools give you the ability to measure where each driver is and kind of create that self-paced orientation and let them do what they need to do and put people in groups. When they get there, you might have some training like an operations training or a safety training that you really want to do a class for that. when they get there, or you might be doing a truck walkthrough. You can do all of that. You can capture bulk attendance. So, we were talking about whenever they go through and fill out a form, you have a record of that, you have a signature. When they go through and complete a training video or one of your training videos, then you get a certificate of completion or a quiz that's attached to that so you can track it. If you're doing high impact training that you want to be able to know who's there, you have the bulk attendance option so that you can say, okay, all of these drivers did attend this defensive driving training or this safety training, and then that is a record of it for you in that driver's file. The checklists help you, your orientation supervisors or your safety managers or compliance managers, who's ever checking all of those boxes off at your company, see easily what's been done and what hasn't been done, so that if there are any gaps, you can get those filled in by the driver while they're there. And then it's a clean handoff for the driver qualification file from getting the pre-hire requirements done to the post-hire and what needs to be done after that. So all of these things are building up for you so that you know what to do. Next slide, please. I think one of the hardest things that you're thinking about right now, whenever you think about, okay, so if I have, let's just use the number, 20 drivers. If I have 20 drivers that are coming in on Monday, and I assign all 20 of these drivers the pre-orientation and only 5 of them do it, then what do I do? How do I set this up? And so that's where some flexibility comes in, and really we've put all these tools in the box, but it does require thinking outside of the box by saying, okay, Monday morning, I have group A, and these are the drivers who have done everything that they were supposed to do. And when they get here, all I need to do with them is their truck walkthrough, and they're going to meet with their driver manager, they're going to meet with their operations manager, whatever those couple of things are. And then they're ready to go to operations and get assigned to a truck by noon on Monday morning. So again, driver experience, that can be a differentiator, right? Like you do what you're supposed to do before you get to orientation, and then we're going to have you on a truck by Monday at noon, and you can get dispatched on your first load Monday afternoon, right? Rather than waiting till Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, depending on how long your orientation is. And then you have another group maybe that are partly through there. And because everything is designed to be done mobile first, the drivers still have the assignments in their driver portal. And so it really lends itself to a self-paced, and there's driver checklists too. So the driver can clearly see, okay, here are the things that I need to do before I can move on to the next stage. And then your orientation supervisors are dealing with exceptions or one-offs and answering questions and having a more impactful one-on-one time, with those students. And so then those second group of guys or gals that did part of it, then they're released Monday afternoon or Tuesday morning. Again, still ahead of schedule, still getting on a truck, making money faster in less time that you're having to feed them, put them up in a hotel, do all of those things so everybody's happy. And then, you have group C, maybe they didn't do anything, before they got there, but it's still all there for them in their portal, waiting for them to do it. And they can go through it at their own pace, mixed with the training that you guys have decided at your company is required to do face-to-face. And then they're released, on Tuesday afternoon to go to operations. And so it really allows for you to customize this how you want it. And it allows drivers to learn how they would like to learn as well. And so that's really a big deal. Next slide, please. So what can you expect here? You can expect to save money. We think, and we have testimonials and having conversations with clients, you can save 20 to 40% in orientation costs. The hotel and food, missed revenue of the trucks not moving, all of those things add up. Again, drivers always ask, how long is your orientation? How long is your orientation? How long before I can be on a truck making money, right? So this is getting a driver on a truck faster makes everybody happy. It makes the driver happy. It makes operations happy. It makes, your CEO happy because everybody's making money faster. And it really is just a better experience for the driver. You appear so organized. All of your stuff is assigned to them in a neat little bow, right? They go through task by task and fill out document by document, watch, the training, take quizzes, and it's all done for them. It's all done easily, right? They go in, they log into their driver portal, which they're already used to logging into during the recruiting process, and they get everything completed. So it's really better. And under any circumstances, it's better. And under any circumstances, it really is kind of where we are now in our life and in society, is everything kind of needs to be able to be done where you are. And this pandemic that we're in now really just amplified all of that. But it made it now, this actually makes it safer for your drivers. And so when you're talking to a driver, if you're trying to recruit them to come to your company, you can say, we have your safety in mind, starting with, our recruiting and onboarding and training experience is done remotely, and so the amount of time that you're going to have to spend face to face with anybody else is, this amount of time, as long as you complete all of these tasks. Wow, what an impact that makes for drivers to know that the company that they're going to work for are doing those things with them in mind, and with, your other employees in mind too that work for your company. Next slide, please. So we were talking about our savings, and we talked about some companies that are doing these things. Casey Bellman, he's the director of recruiting for HMD Trucking, and he was actually able to save $400,000 a year that they were spending in orientation, and they reduced their orientation from 3 days to 1 day by implementing all of these tactics. So it really has been a huge saver for them. Next slide, please. So what does the box include? We have included everything that you need. All of the standard required forms, the ability to upload your CDL, Social Security number, Social Security card, TWIC card, the DQF ready application, all of that we have in the box, digital for you. Training, 50 training courses ready for you. It's mobile first, and it's easy for drivers. Program management, we're going to remind drivers, we're going to trigger those things to happen automatically based on the status that you tell us. The task list to help you manage it from a safety perspective or recruiting perspective, and also to help the driver manage it so they can see really at any time what they've completed and what they haven't completed. And so, as Leah said, my services are part of what's in the box. And so I would love nothing more than to go through your orientation schedule with you and talk about what training courses we have, or that you guys might have, that could replace or supplement a course and really get your orientation down to the minimum amount of time that we can based on all of these activities. We have put the training content library is in a handout, and you can see in the slideshow we recommended what to use for pre-orientation. So all of these things are right here for you. You get to decide which ones you want to use and which things you don't want to use. And so if you want any clarity on any of those items, let's jump on the phone and let's talk through it. Let's look through your schedule. Let's look at your driver packet. Let's talk about what statuses you have and when is it appropriate to assign different things, and let's get your orientation online for you. This is, not going away anytime soon, and it's really, I think, forcing all of us to look at our processes and look at how we do work and say, how can we do it better? How can we do it more efficiently? And so this is good. These are good things that are going to carry you on for a long time. And so, as Leah mentioned in the beginning, it's free for 90 days as well. So what better time to try it out and get your processes online when you can try it for free? You have nothing to lose there. And so if you reach out to your advisor, if you have any questions, also I'm going to type in my email, but it's just marilyn.serber@10street.com. You can find me on LinkedIn. Please reach out to me if you want to go through your own specific things kind of point by point. And we do have some questions here. And so I'm going to look, if you have any questions, please put them in the question box.
This is the time to ask questions. Yeah. Thank you, Marilyn, so much. Such a great job that we don't have any questions right now. It was crystal clear to everybody.
That's right.
But it was good information, and I'm sure people are processing it right now and thinking about things that they might want to ask. And so if you can't think of any right now, or you think of some later, you can always reach out to either Marilyn or our sales number or our email address that we've got right here. We're going to send you a PDF version of the slides as well as a recording of the webinar. And we also have underneath your handout section, you can see there's a video training cut sheet, which kind of tells you all of the available videos for training that we have made so far. And I think actually it's even missing maybe one or two. So, but you can at least have a look at that for now and be prepared, or just know that you're going to get the PDF version and the recording too. So we're always here if you do have questions later. Let's see, we've got a couple that came through when I was talking.
There's one about, are we partnered with Infinity? We are partnered with Infinity, and so if you use Infinity Vertical Alliance for your video training, then your driver, we can have a partnership with them where you can assign that training through the portal and your drivers can access it through the portal.
Yep, that works. And yeah, JJ Keller can also work. That was another question on here. Drug testing and physical, how long does it take to get the results? You can get those as they're going through the drug testing facility, physical facility, all within an afternoon or a morning. So isn't that right, Marilyn, that it's instantaneous, and as they're going through the process, you get updates so you can see where they're at. They just walked in, they just got into their appointment, they have already passed over their, drug testing thing. And
yes, that's correct.
It's immediately you get the results. So that's a really quick one.
And you do get like notifications, like Leah said, that's like whenever it's completed, you can go see that. Good questions. Yep. JJ Keller will work as well. So yeah, I put my email there. I think everybody should be able to see that if somebody wants to confirm that. But Leah will also, we could include it in our follow-up so that everybody has that. Yes. And so again, if there's any questions that you guys think of, let us know. And we really want to help you. We want to provide you with these tools it's really everything you need in the box to do your orientation remotely.
Yep. Yeah. So if there's no more questions now, we're going to let you guys go. And we are happy that we were able to, kind of make it a quick one today so that you guys can get back to your day. I know you guys are really busy and you have a lot of things in your day-to-day life. And so we really appreciate you taking the time to, join us today and learn more about what we can do to help you.
We did have one more question that just came through. If you don't have currently have a paperless orientation strategy in place, how long is it going to take to get something like this in place with 10th Street? With everything that's in the box and not, if you don't customize anything, we can have this turned on for you in a few days. As we start building custom documents for you or adding anything like that, then that will take a little bit longer.
Okay, thanks everybody. We will see you on the next webinar, and you can expect to receive all of those things in your email within about 24 hours.
Thank you.
Have a great day. Bye.